Hello and welcome to the Flicks Forum podcast with Jesse Heater and MJ. In this week's episode, we are looking at Netflix's 23rd film, the 2017 black comedy Take the 10, directed by Chester Tam, starring Josh Peck, Tony Revolori, Emily Chang, Cleopatra Coleman, Kevin Corrigan and Andy Samberg. Welcome.
G'day, mates.
Hello.
I think we should preface this one with there's probably going to be a bit of language and inappropriate content discussed throughout this one.
Yes, good call.
Might swear.
Yeah.
Also, as we always do, if you haven't seen the film and you want to see the film, don't see it and just know.
Hey, you should definitely watch this film.
Whack.
Yeah, we are going to spoil the film, so if you're planning on seeing it, watch it and then listen to us. My recommendation is don't watch it though.
Yeah, and if you're easily offended, go back, listen to our other 20 episodes, because this one's going to have some things discussed that are probably most people won't find savoury.
Good work on the language warning though, because there's a bit of language in the film, and if we do want to quote it,
yeah. I think I might quote something. So as
there's something I want to quote too. I hope it's the same thing.
Maybe, possibly.
It's dicey, very dicey to go there.
So on our podcast, we always go around the table and do a quick summary of the film. Heater's going to kick us off today with his summary of Take the 10.
All right, thanks, mate. So, two best friends, one trying to get the other to go to a concert with him, the other wanting them both to fly to Brazil, their grocery store manager and a drug dealer all collide throughout one crazy day.
Good. Not bad. MJ.
I had so much trouble writing this. I had
Me too.
so
Me too.
much trouble. And like my fast flicks is terrible and I'm going to apologise, but it's reflective of the film.
Oh, wow. You were whacking this so early.
Stop dissing this movie.
You just dissed it by reading that. Like, none of it makes sense. All right. A snapshot into a whirlwind of a day covering a couple of teenagers working at a supermarket, their cocaine-addicted boss, and a drug dealer who they steal from. There's also a carjacking and a drive-by shooting, but I still don't know where that fits in.
Oh, it was so funny.
I tried really hard. Like, IMDb sets it up as like, oh, these two mates, one's a drug dealer. I'm like, no, that's not really the film. Like, I need to give the audiences more of what happened, and that's kind of my fast flicks.
All right, good. My fast flicks is a buddy film with one guy wanting to go to a concert and the other one wanting to go to Brazil. What adventures could they possibly have along the
I already want to watch this movie
The
again.
whole Brazil thing didn't make sense to me either.
I thought that was one of the redeeming things of this film.
I wasn't sure where it came in because I'm just like, okay, what's the end goal? I think I want to go to Brazil actually. Like,
one wants to go to Brazil, the other one wants to go to a concert.
I know, it's
they both get to do it. So
they both get what they want.
true, yeah, your fast flicks is the best, Jeff. You win the fast flick stakes.
So my first thing is, Take the 10, the title. So
This was in my questions before I researched it.
Interesting title.
right, so I picked up like when you're watching it that he gets on the 10 when he's in the car with the two guys.
The highway. The highway.
I didn't notice that. Were they explicit about that? Did they say, hey, take the 10?
Well,
I don't remember him saying that.
No, neither. Because I read about the 10 is the highway, but I'm like, oh, well, I missed that.
I didn't read it. I know, like, at one point he says, I will take, I'm going to drive this route. I don't specifically remember him saying I'm taking the 10.
He did, yeah.
When they get taken in traffic and he hits that guy's car.
Yeah. The 10's like famous in LA. If you've been to LA, you've been on the 10. So I got that. Then I was like, maybe there's more to it than that. So I looked up like what else Take the 10 means.
Oh, yeah.
And this is where I've given that preface at the start. So Take the 10 can also mean an act of self-pleasuring or masturbation which occurs during an interval of time never exceeding 10 minutes. And to me, the amount of masturbation references throughout this film, that could definitely tie in with that.
All right, interesting.
So that's
Well
another
done.
take on it. Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
But yeah, to me, I was like, that maybe that ties in as well. It's like a double entendre.
Yeah, maybe.
Meaning. Because yeah.
There were a couple of masturbation references, weren't there?
Multiple. What else do we know about this film?
The directorial debut of Chester Ham, who wrote... Chester Tam, sorry.
Heath loves this film.
I did write that. I've got Tam written there and Ham written there. Why did I write Ham?
I love that you got handwritten notes.
So yeah, he wrote, directed, and he starred in it too.
Yeah. He wrote it in 2006.
2008.
Sorry, 2008. I can't. I've actually got 2008.
Hang on, let's get back on track. We're making a mess of this.
4 years after his car was stolen on Craigslist. So it's a bit of a sub story.
It's kind of because that was part of the story that didn't quite fit in with anything else. Like, so he's almost just like, I've got this movie about my car getting stolen. That's actually not very interesting. So
I'm going to add it in somewhere to a different movie.
I'll have more of a story there. But,
Yeah.
So Chester Tam is like a really big collaborator with Lonely Island.
Yeah.
So that's, and Andy Samberg was attached to this script from the start, which is probably one of the main reasons why it got made, because him and Chester went to New York University Film School together. They were roommates together for a while, so it all kind of makes sense.
One other thing I didn't realise, I saw one of the writing credits for Chester Tam was a movie was a TV show I know you like, Blue Mountain State.
Oh, did he write BMS?
He wrote, I think, 13 episodes of Blue Mountain State.
He is in the first episode as the mascot that gets obviously taken over by the other bloke.
I love Blue Mountain
BMS,
State. That was a
show.
fantastic show. But he wrote about, I think, a lot of the first season, I think, of that. Or
I missed that.
Was one of the writing credits on that,
The working title for the film was San Bernardino Bound. San Bernardino.
Was that the name of
that was the working title for the film. So obviously that's where the festival was going to be.
Okay.
$2 million it cost them.
$2 million budget.
$2 million. So
why was that released? We can't find budgets on anything on Netflix. I read that as well.
Interesting. Because obviously this one didn't debut anywhere except Netflix.
No.
Dumped on Netflix on the 20th of Jan, 2017.
So also, this was a first feature-length film for Chester.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, his take on it, we talk about Netflix involvement in their films a lot, obviously because our podcast is based around Netflix films. And he mentioned that they were very hands-off from a script perspective, but they were quite hands-on for the actual cuts of the movie. They weighed in quite heavily. And he said they had really good advice and good feedback. But that's probably one of the first times we've heard Netflix trying to have a bit more of creative control.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because they've been sort of doing their own films at this point for maybe 6 to 8 months by this point, and also he's pretty fresh, pretty green.
Yeah.
They wanted to have a bit more of a say, so that's the first time we've heard that.
Yeah, they generally give him pretty free rein, which is one of the things especially like Ricky Gervais was saying, like how it was the best thing because they gave him freedom and stuff like that. So this is a bit different in that case.
Yeah.
So consensus-wise, there was only 2 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, both rotten. Audience 26% on 143 ratings.
143.
4.8 on IMDb out of 10. Not too positive.
Nah,
at all.
No. I mean, you can see why.
Oh, I don't know. Your Fast Flicks was talking it up a bit.
I like this movie. Like, I'm happy to put it out there. I like this movie. I did.
It was filmed in LA, in and around LA. We worked that out pretty easily. Should we talk about some characters?
I think we have to.
You guys hit it off.
I like Josh Peck.
I thought Josh Peck was very good.
In the movie, he was very good. I hadn't seen him in anything since the Drake and Josh TV show
on Nickelodeon,
which I'm really not sure why I watched, but I have definitely seen a few episodes of that. I didn't realise he got a lot skinnier as well and actually looks pretty good now. But I really enjoyed Josh Peck. I thought he was really good.
Played that whole I've got no future, charismatic, I don't care what you think of me attitude really well.
Yeah.
It was like a less popular high school Steve Stifler.
Yeah.
I thought he was really good too. And actually one of my biggest gripes of the film is that there's not enough of him.
He wasn't in there enough.
And him and
Chester.
No. What's his mate's name? Chester, yeah.
Yeah, Chester.
Sorry, I got thrown because of the
because the director's called Chester,
Him and Chester had a
chemistry.
pretty good dynamic.
Yeah.
And they did not touch on that at all.
No.
Like, there was so much stuff in the middle of the film where they just went elsewhere.
Yeah, they focus, I guess because obviously they were doing it in different parts, and when they kind of went to their manager, like,
that was what lost me.
They kind of cut out that, the Chris was Josh Peck? Chris, the Chris and Chester story. And I'm like, no. Let's go back and have a full movie on these guys. Let's, we don't. I don't care about the manager by himself. I want to see Chris and Chester.
They'd already touched on Jay, the drug dealer, a little bit, and when they brought in Danny as well, I'm like, I don't need another character in this film that I'm already not enjoying, and you're trying to introduce someone else to me.
Yeah.
Who probably has he's probably the most ridiculous character. That's where they really lost me.
I hated the Chris and Chester relationship.
Okay.
I hated it because, like you said before, Chris is that character that's always doing the wrong thing over and over.
All right, hang on. Are we talking character or are we talking about actor chemistry? Or both?
I didn't think any of the chemistry with any of them was great.
Because I think the characters seemed like a really weird fit as mates.
Yeah, like Chester and Chris didn't really get. Like you said, they didn't get a lot of time together on screen.
They did have decent chemistry though. I think they bounced. They bounced humour.
I thought they had really good chemistry, but I look at it like XOXO when we were talking about, I can't remember her name now, the main girl, how she became friends with that group of friends. I thought these guys had great chemistry. I'm not sure how they became friends. Like it didn't seem like they fit as buddies.
Sorry, we cut you off though.
No,
sorry.
But that's Chris just makes friends with people for using them. That's it. So that's
for their car.
That's for their car, yeah, pretty much. So that's probably how they became friends from work. He needed a lift to work, so they became friends. And I just didn't like that Chris continually did the wrong thing, and Chester didn't really care. Like Chester's just like continually went back to him over, like, and you know you've got this scene they crash the car, and Chester he says, "Oh, I'm not going to follow you," and then I'll just follow you anyway. Like out in the middle of the desert, and then the final bit at the end when they jumps over the fence and he actually punches him in the face. I'm like, good, okay, Chester's going to take his own back, and then it's just like, and he gets him to reveal, I was never going to go to Brazil with you. And it's like, oh, okay, well, let's just enjoy ourselves here anyway.
Let's just go some moon rock.
And they had fun.
It's like as soon as the beat of the music dropped in, they hug and they're all friends again. It's like, I thought that
Probably the drugs had something to do with that as well.
Possibly.
Yeah, but you're right. Chester was like, all right, I'll come with the flow. I'll take some drugs with you and have a good time.
I didn't like the relationship with Jay and his girlfriend either. I thought that was just woeful. Absolutely woeful. Like, he called her a effing thought and hit her. And then they were just fine straight afterwards. I was like, there is no place in the world where that is a positive thing to show on the screen.
Yeah, I agree.
Disgusting. And
I didn't think that. I thought that was going to be like a one scene thing.
No,
like
it continually happened. Yeah. They just argued and fought, and then they're best mates again. I thought that was gross. And again, the cops, the stereotypical cops.
Oh my god! I wouldn't even put them down as characters. They were so useless.
The male cop. So his two lines of dialogue that he had. Better lawyer up. I've always wanted to say that. Okay.
Whilst they were in the freezer for some reason. Why the hell were they in the freezer? In fact, why were they looking after Danny anyway?
And then at the end when you arrest him, he goes, pound it out, bro. You're under arrest. Like, they're your two lines.
Yeah, the cops sucked.
Just the cops. Because if we want to talk about sucking, we could talk about the opening scene, because I thought that was absolutely horrendous.
Which was great opening scene.
Honestly, mate, it was one of the only good scenes.
I really liked it.
I thought it was
really liked it.
I think that it introduced the fun chemistry immediately.
Yeah, I get it set up the film for what it was going to be.
But it was the funniest joke in the whole film. That was the worst
it was
thing.
fun. I liked pretty much all of the interactions with Chris and Chester. I thought that I really enjoyed them on screen and their chemistry and talking. So the opening scene, I loved. I thought it was hilarious.
Has anyone else got anything more to say about the characters?
No, go for it.
No, because this is what I love about what you do with comedy films. Is
how many times
you document how many times you laughed, or what are you at?
0. I didn't laugh.
Yeah,
didn't laugh once.
I laughed at that blowjob joke at the start. He's talking about if he wrote a blowjob into a script. I'd do it. I'd make you do it, whatever.
And he goes in detail into it.
I thought that was pretty funny, and that was the whole like Steve Stifler feel that I got from him. 2 of the times that I laughed was because of Andy Samberg. I don't know if that's because I really like Andy Samberg. I've got an affinity with him. Because I thought his character was a massive douche.
I was. That's also made it so funny as well.
I thought it was funny when he got really annoyed and yelled, "I'm a diabetic. I have to live with mum and dad." Yeah. I thought that was pretty good. And I don't want to say this word, but it was part of the script. I won't say it, when he says, "Watch your language, you disrespectful C-bomb."
Yeah.
That was really good.
I laughed out loud a lot in this movie.
You can use that word occasionally for humour, and when you're telling someone to watch their language, I thought that was very funny.
So I've got in here, why did Andy Samberg sign on?
Because he's roommates with
because of his mate.
But surely you're Andy Samberg and you go, maybe I'll give this one a miss.
No, great choice.
He's a good bloke. He's a good bloke.
It's a good bloke.
Got to help out his mates. That happens.
Because that'd be half the reason anyone would watch this film, is because it's got Andy Samberg.
I didn't know he was in it.
I didn't know, no.
Before watching it.
I didn't know he was in it.
You didn't listen to my summary in the end of our last episode where I said Andy Samberg.
You did you? Did you really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. At the end of our last episode, I said Andy Samberg's in the next film.
I'll have to re-listen.
I hope I did. If I didn't, yeah, I definitely did. Definitely did.
Sorry.
Sorry, I'm just I also like when they're in the grocery store at the start, when they're talking about going to Brazil, and you've got Josh Peck talking about like the birth control in Brazil and all that, and you got that young mum who's there and I think his mate Chester's like, what are you doing? What are you talking about this? And he just keeps going on and on. So I was pissing myself laughing.
You have to wear a condom when having sex in Brazil. It means no pulling out.
That was funny.
Oh, it's okay. just gonna laugh.
Sorry, Jesse, I found it funny.
No. Were there any other actors that you thought could have been alright in this film?
They had very little to work with.
Very little work with. I thought so too.
I thought Josh Peck was really good.
Yeah, I thought for what they had, the actors in this were okay.
It was good.
Yeah. And I like the fact that Chester Tam has sort of like been there, done that in Hollywood, and he's got those big aspirations, which is great. And I wouldn't say that I'm never going to watch anything he's done again. I just feel like this was too much of a mishmash of a whole bunch of stuff happening that wasn't really well refined, and a lot of things weren't developed well enough. And I'd happily give him another go because he's got no decent humour pedigree with some of the stuff that he's done. I just don't think he got this one right at all.
No. All right. What else? Heath, what stood out for you? What are some other things that stood out for you?
I like the bathroom scene at the concert when Jay comes in and finds him, and Chester's high on drugs and he's got the gun out, and that whole scene, I was pissing myself again. Loved it.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
I know you didn't like that, but I put it in your face.
I've got one of my standout scenes. The only thing I liked about the film was where they're all at the urinals, and Chris is the only one with his hands on the walls while he's taking a leak, and the rest of them.
That was so in character.
Yeah, and I was like, that was the end. I didn't laugh, but I was like, that was okay.
I liked when he met the guy on Craigslist to buy his car, and his mate comes out and he just gets in the trunk and he's like, what's he doing in the trunk? He likes to be by himself or something like that. And I like the whole drive-by thing. Look, it was completely stupid, but I just laughed. I loved it.
I thought that was way too obvious. As soon as he started unpacking the bags from the back seat, I'm like, he's going in the boot.
Still found it funny.
There was one really nice scene transition that I noticed.
Yeah, well, good.
Is when I think it was Chris who was saying, I'm not putting my hand down until you come back, because he wanted a high five or a fist bump or something. And then the next scene straight away was a cop saying, put your hands up. And he had his hand up and he said, and it was a really nice scene transition. Yeah, well done.
Good. Yeah. Didn't pick up on that one.
No. Yeah, you easily missed.
Missed it, yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is good filmmaking.
Yeah. Anything else? Can we talk about some things that we didn't like? I can.
You go, Jesse.
Sure?
I'm sure you've got a big list.
Do you want to go, MJ? You go first. What?
Probably my most hated scene was when Danny, the store manager, took his shirt off and he was really high on drugs, and nothing really happened or made sense in that whole scene, and I was just like, I'm offended by you making me watch this scene kind of thing. It was terrible.
And then the Brooke character walks in on him.
And after he opened the laptop with her face on it,
looking at her screen, tissues and lubes, that sort of thing. And then he tries to lean in and kiss her later on. Just like weird, real creepy,
terrible.
There's just a lot of dialogue that I just thought was not funny and like was going for the laughs and just didn't hit. So, Greg, who was the black guy that they worked with, he's like, I'm happy to have your sloppy seconds, Chris.
Yeah, that's right.
And I was like, it's a bit gruesome. And then the next scene, you see Chris goes to Brooke and he goes, would you pay me $300 to perform sexual favours on your body?
That was funny.
That wasn't funny.
That's not funny. Because and she's like, at least she said no one would.
I liked her reaction to it.
So that scene annoyed me too, because this whole film, the editing was all over the shop. Like the timeline and the way it was edited and the way they brought the scenes together was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. So that's what annoyed me, was we've seen that scene where you're supposed to get laughs at the start, and then in one of the repeats of one of the timelines, you get that scene again where he said that to Brooke, but he's on the phone buying the tickets when he comes out. And I'm like, that didn't happen, because we saw what had happened in the opening scene, and now you're playing that scene back and that's not actually what happened. So that's
this is an interesting point with comedy films, and you look at the way myself and Jesse thought about this film compared to the way Heater felt about the film, is if you lose audiences in the first 10 or 15 minutes, these jokes ain't going to stick, because you're already annoyed and you already maybe don't think that character's funny, and the more you hear where you might hear cringe, Heath might be like, that's still funny because that's true to the character, I'm in. So if you get that wrong early,
that's really true.
I think if you so my pinnacle of comedy films is Superbad. I think Superbad is one of the funniest films I've ever seen, and I often wonder if if I wasn't in that from the first 15, 20 minutes, some of those jokes would be terrible. But you just think, I believe this character, you know, I'm all in on this story, and it's twice as funny. And I think with comedies, and I think Netflix, to be honest, this is number 20, the 23rd Netflix film.
Yep.
I'd harbour a guess at maybe the 4th or 5th comedy film. They haven't stuck a one. Like, I think they're having a lot of trouble getting comedy right, when it really should be one of the genres that is so Netflix applicable, because comedies just want to chill back on the couch and watch. And they you know, it's a tough thing to do, tough thing to get right, but they're certainly not getting it right at the moment.
All right, so I'm going to put through a few scenes. I'm going to see if he thinks they're funny.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, Carlo, the guy from Craigslist to buy the car, he looks at the car the first time and he goes, I like the way the car looks. It looks like a 40-year-old mum wanting to get effed.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
Okay, good. Not good. I'm glad.
This is like the time that
agree with you on that.
You went through all of Kevin James's one-liners, and I had to say if I like it or
I'm
not.
putting a hit on the spot here. Okay,
sit
so they're at the house. Andy Samberg's the brother, and the Asian lady, her name was Patty, and she's injecting his groin. Was that funny?
No, but I also don't like needles.
Did he say something like, "Oh, you make it feel like you do it so I don't feel it" or something?
But then I also liked Paddy then like ragging on Chris like a few minutes later.
Okay. What about when later in that scene, Johnny and Chris, they're talking about sniffing and staying out of each other's shit?
Yeah,
That just went on and on and on and on.
And like
that's
the
right.
whispering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
See,
right.
I like the whispering part as well. Like, why are you whispering? I'm not whispering. Why are you whispering? Yep, like that one.
Okay. Chris, they're in the car at the end, and he says to the girl, "I want to make you come in the heart."
Nah, that was bad.
And then Greg, the black guy in the break room, says he makes a girl come with his eyes. I was just like, how are these? I don't know.
He was a weird character.
He was a weird character. He is someone's nephew. Chris Rock's nephew, I think.
Yeah.
Chris Rock, was it?
Brother, even.
Brother, maybe.
Something like
Yeah.
that. So
Oh, really?
Someone.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. So a couple other little bits and pieces. So the shootout when Rico and they rock up and they shoot the house up. Did you look at the fire at the end of the gun? It was like someone had just gone in with Adobe After Effects and just put in this little crappy little fire. Like
I can't say I noticed that at all. No.
that did my head in. And then when they're sitting in the car and they're talking about, we talk about app mergers. And it's like, Waze, it's a map app bought by Google.
I found that funny.
No.
I did like
Had
that.
you heard of Waze before?
No, never.
Me either.
Never.
Yeah.
I found, all these like gangsters doing drive-bys, but they're up to date and like mergers and like app company mergers. Like, that was good.
Didn't even make me want to look up what it was though.
Because then they have the Waze joke later on. Somewhere, because he's like, I didn't think you'd get here that fast. It's like, are you saying that I don't know how to use my Waze app? I liked it.
One scene that really, really got to me was when we met Jay and his girlfriend, and he's doing the weights in the room, and
Whilst watching porn.
And you got the porn in the
while
background.
watching porn, and then he comes out and the girlfriend has a go at him for never wanting to have sex, and then Chris is just like, "Can I have the Wi-Fi password?"
That's right.
And then Chris steps in to stop them fighting before going to the toilet. I was like, this scene is just.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, where does it all fit?
Yeah.
Why did he want the Wi-Fi?
Exactly. Why did he want the Wi-Fi password? There was a scene where Danny was like, where he's at the shop and he needs the cash to pay, so he goes to the register and just takes the money out. And then you just get this blatant shot of the security camera. It's like, I wonder why we're looking at a shot of security camera. Is it going to come back and bite him in the butt?
So then I like the follow-up to that of him trying to work out how to delete it and he couldn't work out what was going on. I like that.
Nearly there. So the title cards throughout to like sort of break the scenes up, just like this word. There's one where it said Matthew 24:50.
Oh yeah, I noticed that.
And I was like, okay. So I wrote it down. So I looked it up, and it relates to the master will return unannounced and unexpected. And that didn't answer anything for me anyway, because I was like, who's the master? Because it was followed by Chester telling Chris that Danny knows about their stolen money. So it was like, none of them are the masters anyway, because they're all just in trouble.
Yeah. Okay.
I was whacked up. And then the scene at the end where Jay's in the car watching the porn while he's driving.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That was weird.
And then he was listening to like a sermon of a priest or something.
Yeah.
I didn't get that, and I didn't understand why that was there. The religious radio. So the quote that came on the radio was, "God opposed the proud, but gives grace to the humble." Because Jay was never humble, so I don't
It's
understand.
got something to do with him being gay and God opposing to that, or
Maybe.
I don't know.
but it didn't really connect. There's no connection really.
So maybe we're missing something.
Me too, maybe. Alright, sorry. My rant's done. Anyone else want to rant?
I'm good. No, MJ.
Nah, you did a pretty good job. I didn't like it when the register was out by $800, and I'm just like, I don't care. No one cares. This is like not the story I want to see. The story I want to see, I think the story I wanted to see was them get to the music festival, get to Brazil. I wasn't too sure what they wanted to do. And then I hated that scene when they were dancing at the concert, getting high.
Yeah.
I was so bored with the film already. Watching that, I was like, please stop.
What were some of the... Was there any themes in it?
There were so many racist references or references about race. And I read that Chester Tam deliberately didn't want to cast 2 white leads. And he deliberately didn't want to cast an African-American drug dealer. I don't think he necessarily was thinking him as a drug dealer, but I think he also sort of thought the whole Asian-American thing hadn't been done. But I just feel like some of the references in the film were so overt. Like the amount of times someone's like, oh, am I being racist? Or sorry, if this is racist. Or
it's like they use that as a defense for what they were saying.
Yeah, but I do like the fact that he was trying to shine some light on something that's important to him about maybe roles in Hollywood and who's getting certain roles and whatnot. But I found him going about it a really strange way. Because the whole time I'm like, okay, racism is a really big theme in this film. But why and how is he trying to tell this message? And I couldn't quite figure it out. It was a bit disjointed. And then reading more about it, I understood that what he wanted to say, but I didn't quite get that from watching the film.
Yeah.
He tried to use race as humour from time to time, which I think is okay in comedy films if you do it right. And it's not that it was offensive, it just wasn't funny.
Yep. It tried to go with this friendship thing.
Yeah.
It tried,
but I don't really think there was
Chris
much.
wasn't a friend. He never intended to go to Brazil.
Nah, and you didn't get a vibe that they've been like. You didn't get the feeling they've been mates for 10 years or something either.
Yeah.
They might have been, but it didn't make me feel like they were.
I think it was Danny said he's a dead weight and a bum. And I was like, that's perfect.
It's true,
That's
I mean,
exactly
you kind of never believe that Chris would go to Brazil, ever.
And maybe that's the character playing the character right. But to me, it annoys me that Chester never worked that out properly.
Yeah.
Or dealt with that properly.
Because I think everyone was kind of cool with, like, Chris was fine being that character. Like, he didn't...
Yeah.
He was not like he was just like, oh, I'm doing the wrong thing. He's like, no, this is me. Like, like if that's what you want, I'm here. So, but if Danny had said, hey, mate, you're a dead weight, he would have been like, yeah, so. Which is cool. That's why I didn't mind that character. But
his brother was even worse. Like,
yeah, he came out of that conversation like, oh, he's the good guy.
Yeah. So for $2 million, it wasn't a bad-looking film. It's just there were no laughs.
True. Yeah, true. I'll give you that.
Better on the big screen?
I wouldn't.
Nah, this is a Netflix movie.
This
is a Netflix movie.
Yeah, perfect for Netflix. IMDb?
I got a good one.
Yeah, go for it.
The driver on the freeway that he smashes the car.
I thought that was Tate Donovan. When I looked at it, I've had it in my notes. I'm like, is that Tate Donovan? And then he took the sunnies off. Like, no, it's not Tate Donovan. No, who was it?
I'll give you his most famous line in film history. Miss Guzzi. Is the Miss Guzzi guy from Eurotrip.
Really?
Yeah. Fred Armisen. He's on like Saturday Night Live and stuff as well. But I'm like, that's Miss Guzzi. Miss Guzzi.
That's a great film, Eurotrip.
Yeah. I was really excited. I'm like, that's the guy. And then I checked and it was.
Peter?
I didn't jump on during the film, no. I did look afterwards to see what Josh Peck had done between this and 10 years ago, Josh and Drake.
So I don't know Josh and Drake.
It's like a Nickelodeon show.
It's a Nickelodeon show, yeah.
So he was a kid, obviously.
Yeah. They were playing like, what,
and
15, 16-year-olds? He was quite fat, yeah. So I just kind of looked to see what he'd done in between those 10 years. I didn't realise he was still doing stuff. He's had a fair few roles.
Because he looked familiar to me, and I looked as well at him, and I saw all this Drake and Josh, or Josh and Drake, whatever it was. And
it was a big Nickelodeon like teen show.
I couldn't figure out what I'd seen because he looked familiar.
I looked up Danny, Kevin Corrigan, because he's been in Pineapple Express.
He's in everything, isn't he?
I just looked at a few photos and like, I remember you from Superbad. I remember you from Pineapple Express.
He's in The Departed.
His little roles.
He's in Superbad.
He's the guy whose party they go to.
He is,
and he beats up the guy that takes him to the party.
The period.
Yeah, it's his girlfriend.
His girlfriend,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is him.
Yeah, that's him, yeah. He's in so many different things.
Looks real familiar.
Yeah, he beats Boyle from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yes, he does, right. Yeah. He's He's Leo's cousin in The Departed. He's got a pretty major role in the TV show Granted for Life that was on for a few years. He's just kind of a bit part guy in a lot of different stuff, yeah.
All right, have you got any questions you want to ask?
No, I don't.
Well, I do. I've got a couple.
Oh, give us it.
So, why did Chester run into a Korean bookstore to find a knife?
Well, I think... Yeah, so I don't have a good answer. Like, he was trying to get into all these different stores, I think just to get away off the street.
Yeah.
And then once he gets into a store, maybe it's like, now I need a weapon to defend myself. But it didn't make sense him looking for the knife. No.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought he was going in somewhere to hide, and I was like, yep, this is fine. Once he gets in there, and then he goes for the knife, it's like, okay, this just took a strange turn that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Maybe I don't know. I was just like, that's a weird weapon to pick up from a bookshop. Like, if it was like a fishing and tackle shop or something, I'd be like, it makes sense. I don't know, it was just a bit weird.
It was a bit strange.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other scene that was a bit weird, so they have the car, the tyres puncture, they go off the side of the road, and then they go for the walk through the desert, and then they stop at that...
Grave.
There's a cross, the flowers, the candles, it's like a grave on the side of the road. I was like, why? Who is it? What is it? What are they doing?
True, I just thought that was some sort of perspective thing about
they didn't
why they're fighting. And they're like, well, you know what? People are dying. I kind of got that vibe.
Yeah. I don't really have a good answer for you for that at all.
Like, that'd be a really good idea if that's what it was, like a perspective thing, but they didn't push it all.
Well, they kind of stopped arguing, and even Chris was just like, he stopped talking and he was the first one to notice it. That's how I viewed it as.
Yeah.
I still thought it was a weird fit though.
Yeah. Last one I wanted to ask. So Chester's on the plane, doesn't answer the phone from Chris. So Chris is like, I need to find a ride for work now. So he goes straight over to Greg. And he's like, and Greg's like, I'll ride a bike. And Greg puts his fist up and he leaves him hanging. Yeah, and then we have the credits. And then after the credits is that scene. Did you guys see the scene?
I didn't stay for the after credits scene.
What was it?
So at the end we get the scene. So he's still hanging. He's still got his hand up waiting for the fist pump from Chris. And Chris opens the door and he just goes, what did he say? He says, what did you say? And that was it. So it wasn't like he came back in and fist pumped him or anything. It was just he opened the door and looked at Greg holding his hand up still and goes, what did you say? And that was it.
Okay.
So to me, like, that's a perfect. You bring him in, fist pump, he's changed. He's an okay guy. Mate, that leaves it with nothing.
It's showing that Chris is still just selfish and it's all about him.
Didn't need that extra scene to tell me that. I already knew that from him walking out on the guy.
So I didn't realise there was an after credits scene. I think I turned it off as soon as the credits rolled.
Like, I always leave them on. I must have got up there and got a drink or something.
Just annoyed me. All right, let's give our ratings. Let's get to it. Let's talk about it. MJ, tell us, what do you think?
I thought Josh Peck was the best part about this movie, and the buddy relationship with Tony Revolori's Chester actually wasn't too bad. Unfortunately, the film got sidetracked with too many other characters and flaky storylines to get the best part right. A mishmash comedy that makes the 80-minute runtime feel like an eternity. 1 star.
Good.
Me? All right. This movie was silly and stupid, but I really enjoyed watching it. I laughed a lot, which might say bad things about me, but I really liked the chemistry of Chris and Chester. I really liked when they were on screen talking. When they weren't on screen, I didn't really care too much, but I really liked Josh Peck in this film. It wasn't anything good, but I didn't think it was completely bad. I just thought it was a really funny and easy hour and 20 minutes. I give it 2.5.
Good. I struggled to find anything positive about this movie. The jokes didn't land. The concept was okay, but it was executed really poorly. The non-linear sort of narrative was barely pulled off. Like it was silly, really silly. Acting was okay, so for that I'll give it 0.5 star. So
Jesse has given a 0 before.
I have given a 0. This is not my worst.
This is not doom and gloom.
So out of 5, what's our average rating here?
1.33.
1.33. Yeah, about right. So we are on social media. I put a question up to you guys every week that you don't know prior. So my question this week is: will Chester contact Chris once he's in Brazil, or will he just completely write him off?
I reckon he will.
I reckon he will.
He's a bit soft.
I like that he turned the phone off. He saw the ring and he turned it off.
Good strength of character there.
So yeah, so that'll be on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram @FlixForum. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Podbean. Please subscribe. Give us a 5-star rating if you can. Next week, our next film is a sci-fi teen thriller 2017 iBoy. It's directed by Adam Randall. It stars Bill Milner, Maisie Williams from Game of Thrones, Jordan Bolger, Charlie Palmer Rothwell, Eamon Hamducci, Miranda Richardson, and Rory Kinnear. So get on board. Watch that one before we
What's
get
it called again?
It's called iBoy with a small I, like apple eye.
Okay,
and then
iBoy.
boy. Yeah,
Alright.
iBoy.
Next week. Let's do it.
So we'll do that next week. Unlucky that film wasn't that great, but I still enjoyed it. I had a laugh.
man.
That was a great watch, boys.
I'm glad that one of us got a bit out of it.
I was in the 26% that used Rotten Tomatoes that liked it.
So as usual, enjoyed it. So thanks, Benio.
Thanks, mate. That was
Thanks,
good.
boys.
Good fun.
All right, bye.
Cheers.